Hi, I'm Andrew Gall of Aerofoil, been over 20 years in corporate venturing, building my own startups and angel investing in a series of different startups.
This is from a program called Beyond Venture Funding, and this is Matt Burke of Williams Advanced Engineering.
But Matthew, could we kick off with you first, please, and give us a brief introduction to yourself?
Thank you, Andrew. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Matthew Burke. I'm Head of Technology Ventures at Williams Advanced Engineering. By background, I'm a mechanical engineer, so a fellow of the IMechE. Predominantly worked in automotive engineering throughout my career, but probably for the last 20 years have been focused very much on technology commercialization. I joined Williams Advanced Engineering in 2011, and actually I haven't spent any of my time working on anything with wheels on since I've been at Williams. It's been everything but, and as you'll see and hear from the case study today, that continues. So yes, thank you, and looking forward to the discussion. Yeah, so I was going to speak for about 10 minutes on a partnership that we have with what was a startup company called Aerofoil Energy, related to shelf edge technology that's used in the grocery retail industry on the supermarket fridges. So just to give you some context, first of all, just a shape of this market. So grocery retail itself accounts for about 3% of the UK's entire electricity consumption, and refrigeration is about 50% of that 3%. And in supermarkets, they use open-fronted refrigerators, which you'll be familiar with when you go and buy products such as milk, cheese, meat products in the supermarkets. And these are work by blowing cold air from the top of the fridge down to the bottom, and that sort of creates the barrier that between the warm air in the store and the cold air in the fridge. It's called a cold air curtain, which is great, but unfortunately a lot of that cold air leaks into the aisles, makes the aisles cool. Importantly, means the fridges use up more electricity than they need to. The industry has sort of tried to solve that by putting glass doors on fridges, and you'll be familiar with some fridges have glass doors. That is a barrier to shopping. It's high capital cost, it's high maintenance cost. It's not a great optimal solution. So what we did is in 2014, we scouted a startup business which had conceived the idea of whether an aerofoil shaped blade that sat in the cold air curtain stream could redirect the cold air back inside the fridge and therefore reduce the cold air spill into the aisles. And through having done some due diligence ourselves to understand the problem and to see if the technology has merits, we prepared an investment case internally, which got approved, and then set about establishing a partnership with Aerofoil Energy. Provision of sales and of services and assets from ourselves, from Williams Advanced Engineering, free of charge, in return for future royalties. So no equity, it was a straight, we provide the services, we leverage the assets. This is all about the future upside and the belief we had in bringing the technology to market. So every aerofoil system generates a royalty for Williams Advanced Engineering. So the partnership wasn't just an engineering partnership. I want to stress that. Yes, we redeployed our engineers from working on Formula One cars and hypercars to modeling supermarket fridges in computational fluid dynamics. But we used our designers to come up with optimum designs which could be still maintain the aerodynamic performance, but could be made at scale and at low cost using design for manufacture techniques. We used our rapid prototyping facilities to produce aerofoils, which we could then test, and we set up testing here at Williams. But beyond that, we worked a lot on the intellectual property to help secure the IP that underpins the innovation. So working through the whole patent prosecution process to make sure the patent would get granted, to build a thicket of further IP around the invention and patent, and even help with the selection of the appropriate patent attorneys to lead those activities. We also leveraged our commercial expertise. We helped to engage with the retailers, so the big giants like Tesco, Sainsbury's and Co, and the fridge OEM manufacturers, by bringing them to our facilities here at Williams in Oxfordshire, and hosting them, showing them the technology, showing them why the technology worked, and really just building the trust with them to be willing to then take on and adopt and trial the technology. And that included then visits, meetings, not just in the UK, but overseas as well. We leveraged our promotional assets as well. So our relationships with different media publications. So not only was the technology featured in publications like The Grocer, which is obviously very important to the retail industry, but in mainstream media as well. So in media outlets like BBC and Forbes. We leveraged the social media that we have, our followers and our channels at WAE to really further the awareness of the technology, and even led various awards, and even managed to get to the Robert Innovation Finals in 2018 with the technology. And finally, the brand. So leveraging the Williams brand, so associating that with the technology, allowing the company to have that association with Williams, both in their emails and their websites and in marketing collateral. So these are all the sort of values that we leveraged to help bring the technology to market. So we were able to successfully take the technology from what was probably a readiness level of about 4 when we first engaged with it, and all the way through to a readiness level of 9. So that went through store trials, sort of from 1 store to 5 stores to 50 stores, combined with very controlled ISO laboratory testing to really prove the benefits of the technology. And when we went to stores, we got really great results. We were getting paybacks within 2 years, which was unheard of for energy investments in this industry. Sainsbury's were the first major retailer to roll out. They adopted Aerofoils in 2018. They retrofitted their entire 1,400 store estate over 2018 and 2019, and set Aerofoils as a design standard for all new cabinets. So Aerofoils actually being a bit of a disruptor. The technology is now being fitted by the manufacturers in their factories to supply into new store builds for the retailers. So sort of disrupting the supply chain. And it's ubiquitous now certainly across the UK supermarket estate. And the technology is now being rolled out in North America with Target and being trialed with the likes of Walmart. So we've been able to rate really big savings for the retailers in terms of their energy costs, and reduce the CO2 that's emitted through the adoption of this technology. So my observations of our experience with Aerofoil, and the partnership continues. We continue to work with them, developing sort of next generation efficient fridge technology for the industry. But my observations of working with them was about credibility. So early on, it was so important for Aerofoil to that association that they had with Williams, the backing of ourselves, in that the decision makers within these retailers, these big organizations, took comfort. They knew Williams, they knew the brand, they knew what we were about, and the credibility that came with our association and backing of the technology just made such a huge difference in order to be able to get a foot in the door and get those early conversations and really get that trust, build the trust with those retailers. And the other lesson for me from this, and probably one for internally here at WAE, was about patience and managing our stakeholders. This was a very new revenue model for us at Advanced Engineering, very different to sort of engineering services provision. We weren't getting paid. We were committing resources with no certainty of any future revenue. We were having to go above and beyond what we would normally do in order to try and take this, help grow the venture. Not just the technical services I said, but all of the other assets and capabilities that we have. So managing those internal stakeholder expectations was very important. That don't expect the revenues to come straight away. A bit of patience, and they will come. So yeah, so that sort of summarized in 10 minutes my case study. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Matthew.
So you went for a revenue sharing scheme with Aerofoil. Why is that? Can you elaborate why this decision was taken?
Yeah, it's a good question. For us at the time, that was the cleanest way to get engagement with the business. Having to take equity in the business would have obviously required two things. One, the capital that we would assign into the business, and two, if you like, the responsibilities that come with then having ownership of the business. And at the time, that wasn't something that we were as a group company really wanting to set up, but we really could see the opportunity, and to some extent we could see the upside available equally through a royalty-based arrangement.
Thank you.
Good, thank you, Dennis. See another question here from Les. Wouldn't associate WAE with sort of supermarkets. I know, Matt, that you've got, you also involved in an EIS fund and do fund investments and that as well. But could you elaborate on that part, and then maybe Les can come in with his question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it sort of comes back to our Formula One roots. So tech transfer from Formula One is often talked about. It's notoriously hard to transfer technology out of F1 into other industries, but actually F1 is and the work that we do at WAE that originates from that is very transferable in terms of the knowledge and the expertise into other sectors. And so when we looked at, for instance, the Aerofoil opportunity, from a technical perspective, it was an aerodynamic problem. That's how we viewed it, an aerodynamic problem. And we applied the same methodologies that we would do to solving, let's say, an automotive type problem, by using the same tool sets and modeling and using that to sort of guide us. So although it's a very unusual industry, if you actually look at the technology, it is not that surprising. It's aerodynamic technology, and you're right, Andrew. We've expanded from that through Foresight Williams technology funds to sort of take that model to other companies but through a combination of investment and support from ourselves. Again, leveraging those capabilities I discussed earlier, but through the investment fund, actually be able to provide capital as well. We have it within the ventures group. We have an active team that scout. So we connect with, let's say, the wider technology ecosystem, particularly in the UK, from the university tech transfer offices, the angel networks, other VC funds, and so forth. Through the projects that we undertake and that our engineers are working on, that also gives us sight of new technologies that may not come through those other routes. So we're very proactive in looking out. We do get inbound leads. I'd say most of our leads come though from our own scouting activities.
Yeah, thank you all very much. Special thank you to Matt, Zaki, and to Ernie for the key part there, to the facilitators, the note takers, but I think most importantly to all the participants, because it's that questions, the sharing, the discussion, I think, which adds a lot of value to this sort of ecosystem and that here. So thank you all very much.